What's going on, y'all? Ray here with Second Chance Rising, bringing you another rig rundown. And today we got our newest member of the band, Jim Stanton, our guitar player. He's our third guitar player, counting myself. But you know, when you do Christian, Southern rock, and country music, can you really have too many guitar players? Jim, first of all, welcome to the band.
Thank you.
Man, we really appreciate your spirit for the Lord, and we appreciate everything that you contribute here, and we just can't say enough. And you know, all that being said is, I don't know if I've told you, but when you're a new member in the band and you come, we got one standing rule is I get first refusal on anything that you may sell gear-wise.
Okay.
So just in case you ever want to sell any gear, I get first right of refusal.
Do I get the same right?
You do, bro.
All right, on.
You do, absolutely.
Good.
So, you know, I want to talk about a little bit about this Ibanez that you've been playing. I was telling you, I used to have one similar to that I regret selling. Every piece of gear that I've ever sold, if you're like me, you regret selling it. That's why I don't hardly sell any anymore. So tell us a little bit about this Ibanez.
All right, so this is the Ibanez S320. It's a very thin guitar, very thin profile. And at the time when I got this guitar, I had several other guitars, and I thought to myself, you know, what if I want to learn how to do something like, I don't know, shred-wise or whatever? Yeah. I don't have a guitar to do that. I never did pick up shred, but I have a shred guitar. So this thing's really cool. It's got a bulletproof tremolo in it. It's called the ZR, zero resistance, which means you can really crank this thing down, up and down, and it stays in tune. I mean, this thing's pretty bulletproof. Super light. It's all stock except for the pickups. I did change the pickups. It had the INFs, they're called INF1, INF2, and I put the JB pickups in here. They call it a hybrid, and they're basically two JBs that have similar specs to one another, where they sound good.
Now, I ought to know this from being a guitar player. Is that Joe Bonamassa pickups?
You know what? I thought the same thing, but I really don't know what it means, but it's not Joe Bonamassa.
Okay, all right.
It should be, but it's not, right? I mean, it could be.
I just figured I'd throw that out there. So what? Now, is this original finish? It's a matte black finish. I don't know if the camera picks that. Is that original? Or
it is. It's totally like a dull matte finish, so it doesn't spark, you know, there's any pop or anything like that.
Right.
I kind of like that. It's subdued. One thing I've done kind of unique about this guitar in the back is I had a couple tools on here, so I could like get to it and change the strings, whatever I need to do. You know, just have that right there handy, you know, on the back. So I drilled some holes in it, so kind of a cardinal sin, but it's done. Yeah. Nothing wrong with these tuners. I love them. They're really great. Really nothing else to change on this guitar.
Now I've asked you about this picks that you use. Tell us about this. I don't know if you can see that, but that is a very small guitar pick compared to what I use, a regular standard Fender size pick. What gauge is that? Is it pretty?
I don't know what they call the gauge, but it's a Jazz 3. Eric Johnson has a signature pick that's very much like this, pretty much the same pick. It makes several variants of it, but it's basically a very small pick. I got it because I wanted to improve my accuracy. I wanted to work on my picking, and I've been told by really good players that small and thick picks with a sharp edge are the way to go when you want to have a good pick attack. So
now I know my problem.
Yeah.
Hey, let us know in the comments below. You know what picks you use. See, that just is that small of a pick with my big hands. Just seems like I don't have a pick anymore. I just play with my fingers, which I do sometimes. But yeah, comment below what's your favorite kind of pick when you play guitar. So now this is one of my favorite guitars that you own, and you know I'm not a big Gibson fan, but I play a lot of Gibsons now. But tell us about this Les Paul. This Les Paul is beautiful.
So this is it's not an old Les Paul. It's not like a vintage or anything like that, but it is the traditional model. I love the color. I think they call it Honeyburst. I'm not really sure, but it has the stock pickups in it. Everything is stock about this guitar except the tuners. You know, for those that play Gibson Les Pauls, you have that tuning issue. And I thought maybe, hey, I'll change out my tuning heads. Maybe that's my problem. No, the problem is the Gibson. So I love Gibsons. They sound great. They play great, but they do have tuning issues. I put a bone nut in here to try to address that as well. But, you know, it sounds great. It's just one of the things you got to fight. You can put some nut sauce in there or whatever to lubricate the strings in the bone, but you know it's going to have tuning issues. Just is what it is. But other than that, it's totally stock.
I feel your pain. Well, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
So the story about this guitar, actually, a friend of mine had it and he was wanting to sell it, and I ended up trading a couple workbenches in my house, in my garage. He was like, "You want to tinker around? I have some really nice workbenches." And I gave him a couple workbenches, and he gave me the guitar. So really happy with that.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty awesome right there. I mean, that goes right up. I mean, the only thing that could have made that any better is if you'd have traded some exercise equipment for it, right? I mean,
right.
Now you have, like myself, many pedal boards. 4
or 5. Yeah.
No exaggeration. We're just going to do one today. We'll probably do some more of these rig rundowns with Jim featuring some of his pedal boards and the sounds that he has. So make sure that you like and subscribe, ring the bell, get notifications when we're doing more of these videos. But today we'll just whet your appetite a little bit on the one that he brought today to practice, and we'll talk a little bit about it. The hxstomp XL. So tell us a little bit about this and how you set it up. And this is basically one of that you use for, I know you're setting this up to do our live show we got coming up here in just a few weeks. So tell us a little bit about it.
A couple things about this. So I do like the hxstomps. I wanted to get something that's more portable and I could, not carry an amp around if I have to move light. I travel a lot, so I actually built this out to live inside of a Pelican case where I put a guitar and the pedal board in one case, and I can put it on a plane and it can fly. But so the history behind this thing is the reason why I had this one. I had the traditional hxstomp, which is really, it's this size, right? It's just half the size.
Right.
And this one has more buttons. That's really the only difference between this one and the other hxstomp. Is this one has more buttons for actually, doing different things. The processor, the settings, everything inside is exactly the same.
So just a little bit less toe tapping to change from packages.
Exactly. A little more flexibility. So what I've done on this one, I use the internal amps, I use the internal effects. I do like to have a sound of a tube screamer in front, so I could, have some type of overdrive. I can just hit it really quick. Right. I like the sound of a tube screamer, so that's why that's there. And then up front, I use this as a volume pedal. It is a MIDI pedal where it actually controls different parameters. What I primarily use it for is just volume.
Right.
So I go to my amp channel, I master out, I assign this to the amp, and I back it out to make it completely silent so I can tune or whatever. Walk off the stage, I kick it down. No sound comes out of my pedal board, and sound people love that, so it doesn't make any issues. No noise for the sound.
Yeah, the pedal board's real quiet.
Yeah, so if you leave it on, it could potentially have a little bit of static, whatever. I do keep a gate on it if necessary, but this is very useful. Then here I've added this other power. If I want to add something else like a wah pedal or something like that in front of that, I can just add that with power.
So it still remains pretty flexible, even though you're pretty much working out of one box.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of power, so I really believe in having good power. I've learned, like most players, I've been down that process of starting out with the one spot and then, daisy chaining all your pedals with one power spot, getting all this noise and crazy stuff.
If something's not working, trying to figure out which one of those cables is come loose or not working, got a short in it.
So I'm a big believer in Strymon. I use Strymon OJs, and you can actually put more of these together and daisy chain them together and have all kinds of power. So this will work anywhere in the world, right? I don't have to have any special power supply. I just need the prongs that'll fit the plug. Right. Anywhere in the world I can plug it in and it'll power my board. Right. So that's really good.
So what you're saying, if we get an international gig and someone can get us there, we've got the equipment we can play internationally. So book now. Go to our website, secondchancehorizon.com.
There you go. We'll see you out there.
Tell me about that cable. I know cables aren't, we always joke about cables. We got to have the the right cable for the right sound and all that kind of stuff. And I got some monogamies, and some different cables that are supposed to be all that in a bag of chips. But honestly, I don't know that I hear that much difference. But hey, that one just looks cool if nothing else. Is there anything special about that cable?
It's really funny you say that because I needed 2 cables going to a gig one week, and that's all they had. Right, so they had this I don't know if it's like a surf green or whatever you call this thing. But it's like the coolest thing. I didn't like it at first, but it kind of grew on me. It's this weird color of blue. And so I bought 2 of them. They lasted for years. I've had them about 7 or 8 years. 2 of them just like that.
Well, there's 2 things. One, this one's yours because nobody else in the band has a seafoam green cable. Yeah. 2 is real. I've noticed it just looks like it's real pliable and flexible and easy to kind of get around. I play wireless most of the time, but yeah, that looks just like it's really flexible and not so I don't know, mine seem like they just, you just turn around on stage a couple times, they start cranking up and all that kind of stuff.
That's the best thing about that cable is it's unmistakably mine. Typically, nobody else has one like that.
Right.
But I also have this other one. This is a, you know, one of those cables you buy from like Guitar Center.
Yeah.
And it's a lot longer. And, you know, I like to have a backup cable no matter what I'm doing. So,
Smart
so
man.
that's what this is for. Gold tips and all that. So,
Smart man.
yeah.
Well, hey, we appreciate you, you know, showing a little bit of your gear. I promise you, we have lots more guitars from Jim and myself that we'll be doing some rig rundowns and doing some gear reviews, and we'll dig into some of these later on and show you some of the patches we record with, some of the patches that we play live with. So, hope that you'll like, subscribe, and stay tuned. And appreciate you tuning in. God bless you and keep looking up.